Does it feel like everyone around you has suddenly started mumbling? Your grandkids at dinner, the news anchor on TV, even your doctor during an appointment. Like the whole world just stopped enunciating properly at the same time. You are not imagining it. And honestly, you are not alone in feeling this way. A lot of people in this exact situation spend months quietly blaming their television set or assuming people just do not speak clearly anymore, or chalking it up to being a little distracted. It feels easier to assume the problem is out there rather than in here. But here is something worth sitting with for a moment. If you can hear that someone is speaking, meaning you can clearly detect that there is a voice in the room, but you just cannot make out what the words actually are, that is not a volume problem. That is a clarity problem. Those are two completely different things. Researchers call this the clarity gap. Your ears are picking up sound just fine, but somewhere in the process, specific high-pitched sounds are getting lost before your brain can put the words together. And when those sounds go missing, everything starts to sound mushy, soft, and yes, like everyone is mumbling. Today, we are going to walk through 5 signs that this might be what you are experiencing, not to alarm you, just to give you some honest, clear information so you can actually understand what is going on. Let's start with the most obvious one, the TV. You turn the volume up a little, then a little more, and before you know it, it's sitting much higher than it probably should be. Someone else walks into the room and immediately reacts, either asking you to lower it or wondering how you're even comfortable listening at that level. But even with the volume pushed up, something still feels off. The dialogue doesn't feel clear. It feels muddy, like you're hearing everything except what actually matters. The reason for this is simple, but easy to miss. When you increase the volume, you're making every sound louder at the same time. The background music rises, the sound effects get heavier, and everything blends together. The actual words being spoken don't suddenly become sharper just because the volume is higher. Speech clarity doesn't work like that. Turning up the volume is very similar to zooming into a blurry photo. The image gets bigger, but it doesn't become clearer. And this usually doesn't stay limited to just the TV. If you pay attention, you'll start noticing the same pattern showing up in other places too. For example, think about the last time you were in a restaurant. You're sitting with family or friends, and instead of enjoying the conversation, you're quietly putting in effort just to follow what's being said. There's the sound of plates, background music, people talking around you, and all of it blends into one constant layer of noise. The person sitting right in front of you is speaking, but their words seem to disappear into that noise. So you do what most people do. You nod, smile, and respond in ways that feel safe. You might say, yeah, or that makes sense, even when you didn't fully catch what was said. Asking someone to repeat themselves again and again starts to feel uncomfortable. What's happening is that background noise makes it harder to catch the high-frequency consonants that give speech its clarity. When those consonants get weaker, the voice is still there, but the words blur and the room noise takes over. And once that starts happening, it doesn't just affect noisy places, it starts showing up even in quiet conversations. This is the part that most people don't realize right away. Hearing doesn't usually fade evenly. The first sounds to go are often the high-frequency consonants, things like S, T, F, SH, and TH. They're soft, quick, and easy to miss, but they're also what give words their clarity. The vowels are still there. They're louder and lower in frequency, so they stick around. That means you're still hearing sound, but it's incomplete. So conversations don't feel silent, they feel confusing. Think about words like sat, fat, and cat. If you remove the starting consonant, they all collapse into the same sound. That's what your brain is trying to work with. It hears something, but it doesn't have enough detail to fully understand it. And when your brain has to deal with that all day, it doesn't come for free. This is where people usually start to notice something feels off, even if they can't explain it. You spend time in a social setting, maybe a lunch or a gathering, and by the end of it, you feel unusually tired. Not physically tired, but mentally drained in a way that doesn't quite match the situation. That feeling has a name. It's called listening fatigue. When your ears aren't delivering clear sound, your brain doesn't just accept it and move on. It steps in and fills the gaps. It predicts words, pieces, together sentences, and constantly works to keep up with the conversation. That effort builds up. By the time you're done, your brain has been working much harder than it normally should just to maintain a basic conversation, and after a while, that effort starts influencing your decisions. You might not notice it immediately, but it shows up in small ways. You start turning down certain plans. Not completely, just occasionally. A busy gathering feels like too much effort. A noisy event doesn't sound appealing. Staying home starts to feel easier than dealing with the strain of trying to keep up. It's not about losing interest in people. It's about the effort that comes with being around them in environments where listening has become difficult. Over time, that can quietly turn into distance. Research has shown that when clarity issues go unaddressed, people gradually begin to withdraw from social situations. And that can lead to feelings of isolation, lower mood, and even cognitive effects. That's why recognizing these signs early matters. Here is the thing. Once you recognize this as a clarity issue and not just people mumbling or getting older, you stop guessing. And you can actually take the right next step without overthinking it. If any of these 5 signs matched what you've been dealing with at family dinners, restaurants, or in front of your TV, head to the description below. I've linked Hear Direct Club's Nova there, built for real-life conversations and everyday clarity without the clinic runaround or the price tag most people expect. And if you decide to try it, use code YT10 for 10% off. If this was helpful and you want more simple, practical breakdowns like this, subscribe. We post guides to help you hear clearly again and stay connected to the people who matter most. See you soon.